Once upon a time, deep in the lush heart of the great savannah, there lived a mighty elephant named Tambo. He was enormous, taller than any tree in the nearby forest, and strong enough to push boulders aside with a single nudge of his trunk. His ears flapped like giant fans, cooling him during the hot afternoons, and his tusks gleamed like polished ivory spears. Though he was the largest animal around, Tambo was gentle, thoughtful, and always ready to help anyone in need. Not far from Tambo's favorite river clearing lived a proud lion named Kiza. Kiza was feared and admired by all. His mane shone like golden fire, and his roar could rumble across the plains, shaking nests from branches and sending herds galloping in alarm. Kiza loved his reputation. He believed strength meant power, and power meant respect. Every morning he climbed atop Pride Rock and roared loudly, just so the savannah would remember he was king. Despite living close to each other, Tambo and Kiza rarely spoke. Tambo had no interest in showing off, while Kiza loved attention so much that he couldn't understand anyone who didn't crave praise. But something about Tambo bothered Kiza, how other animals admired him not for power, but for kindness. One scorching afternoon, Kiza watched as Tambo helped 3 monkeys retrieve fruit from a thorny bush. The elephant bent a thick branch with ease and shook ripe mangoes loose. The monkeys hooted, thanked him, and danced away happily. Pia, Kiza muttered. They admire him more than they admire me. I am the king. Why do they cheer for him? Determined to prove he was the strongest, Kiza marched to the riverbank where Tambo was splashing cool water onto his back. Tambo, Kiza roared. Let us settle this today. You may be big, but I am king. We must find out who is the strongest animal in the savannah. Tambo blinked calmly. Strength isn't just about size, Kiza. Strength can be used to brag or to help. I choose the latter. Kiza flicked his tail. Enough talking. 3 challenges. Whoever wins 2 is the strongest. Word spread quickly. Antelope stopped grazing. Flamingos paused mid-step. Monkeys raced through branches shouting, "A contest! A contest!" Soon, nearly every animal gathered. Giraffes craned their necks, zebras lined up in rows, and even old tortoise Agogo shuffled up for a front-row seat. First challenge, the great baobab root at the edge of the savannah stood an ancient baobab whose roots twisted across the ground like giant snakes. The challenge was simple: pull up one of the thickest roots. Kiza crouched low, claws gripping deep into the root. He roared and pulled with every muscle in his body. His mane shook, the ground trembled, and slowly, very slowly, the root lifted. Just a little, the roared in excitement. Then Tambo wrapped his trunk around the same root. Without straining, without growling, without roaring, he gave one powerful tug. Crack. The entire root ripped out of the earth, showering dust everywhere. Monkeys fell out of trees in surprise. Birds dropped feathers mid-flight. Even Kiza was stunned. Tambo won the first challenge. Second challenge, the loudest call. Kiza smirked. This was his game. He stood tall, inhaled deeply, and released a roar so powerful that dust lifted from the ground. Birds panicked and flew in circles. The wind even seemed to pause. The savannah shook from the sound. But Tambo remained calm. He stepped forward, lifted his trunk, and blew a thunderous trumpet blast that echoed not just across the savannah, it echoed through mountains, bounced across rivers, and frightened crocodiles sunbathing miles away. Some animals covered their ears. Others trembled. Even Kiza's whiskers shook. Tambo won the second challenge. Kiza's pride cracked like dry mud. He had lost twice. His heart sank, and for the first time, the lion looked uncertain. The third challenge, the challenge no one expected, suddenly, a terrified cry pierced the crowd. Help! Someone help! A mother antelope raced into the clearing, panting. My baby slipped into the canyon of echoes. The walls are too steep, I can't reach him. Kiza's instincts flared. Without thinking, he dashed toward the canyon. He reached the edge, peered down, and saw the trembling baby far below. He tried climbing but slid back. Rocks crumbled beneath his paws. Fear flickered in his eyes. He might fall too. Tambo arrived calmly. He didn't roar. He didn't panic. He stretched his long trunk down into the canyon and wrapped it gently around the frightened calf. With steady strength, he lifted the baby to safety. The mother antelope sobbed with relief. The animals cheered not for a contest, but for a rescue. Kiza stared at Tambo, his chest tight with realization. "Tambo," he said quietly, "I wanted to win so others would admire me. But you use strength to help, not to show off." "That is true power," Tambo smiled. "A king is not measured by how loudly he roars, but by how many he protects." Kiza's mane settled. His voice softened. "Then from today, let us be leaders together. Your strength and my courage combined." The animals erupted in cheers. Birds soared. Elephants trumpeted. Lions roared approval. From that day on, Tambo and Kiza became inseparable friends. They patrolled the savannah together. If a tree blocked a water path, Tambo cleared it. If danger threatened, Kiza's roar sent it fleeing. When storm struck, they guided the herds to safety. When animals argued, Kiza kept order and Tambo found solutions. The savannah grew safer, happier, and more peaceful than ever. Every sunset, the savannah echoed with two great sounds: Tambo's mighty trumpet and Kiza's regal roar, not as rivals, but as partners. And so, the elephant who never boasted and the lion who learned humility ruled not by force, but by heart.